Hi everyone, it's another week and another video with Annie. Today I'm going to start a two-part video series about training your trade show booth staff. Part 1 is going to be on basic booth etiquette, and part 2 is going to be on on-site show floor sales. So I'm going to run through some quick do's and don'ts so that you can have a really successful trade show season. And hopefully you can use this as a show coordinator, as a marketing coordinator or marketing professional, or as a salesperson who will be working within the booth. So the first don't is make sure that you don't ignore potential visitors. There are different behaviors I've seen people do at all sorts of trade shows that really don't allow people to feel as though you're accessible and open and available to them, and you're missing out on potential visitors coming to your booth. This could be anything from being on your phone or your computer because you're just trying to catch up on a quick text or an email. It could be that you're clumping together with multiple colleagues or several customers have come by and a group of you are deciding to talk to them. And while it's great to talk to your customers when they come in a booth, you want to make sure that there's still people available to talk to the people who are coming by. So don't clump together and make it a closed circle where people feel as though they aren't welcome or you're too busy to interact with them. The last is a behavior we do with our own body language, and oftentimes we're not even aware of it. And many times when I've worked at a show, I don't want to stand still in one position because doing that for too long makes your back and your feet hurt really bad. So I'm often shifting different positions in different locations, but sometimes I forget and I have my back to the entry points of the booth. And it's really bad because I am missing the people who are walking by because I'm not looking in the right direction. So my general do for this is make sure that you are always face forward to the entry points of your booth. Make sure that you are constantly smiling, making eye contact, remaining upbeat, giving a general warm feeling towards people, even engaging with them with a general hello, how are you? Making sure that you're just approachable and available for people who go by. And as you see people who are giving you those general vibes of I might be interested, engage with them. Another do for this is set up zones within your booth to have people assigned to working. Now, if you have a general tabletop or a regional kind of 10 by 10 smaller trade show, this obviously doesn't apply because your zone is the whole booth. However, if you're at one of the larger shows and you have multiple staff members and you have different things that you're showcasing within your booth, set up specific zones, maybe around the entry points of your booth or around different demonstrations or different technologies. And make sure that you're preparing your staff by telling them what you're trying to achieve in that specific zone and allowing them to know how they're supposed to interact with whatever might be within that zone, allowing them to practice on demos that you're going to have there or technology or different pieces of instrumentation you might have, whatever is there. Make sure they know how to run it and interact with it, engage with it, so when a customer comes by, they can offer the demonstration and have a great conversation with people regarding whatever is engaging and interacting. Make sure also that when you do establish those zones, you don't keep the same person in the same zone all day or all week throughout the trade show. Most people should be well versed in the breadth of your services and product, and there could be the exception of a few product managers or subject matter experts who need to stay in specific areas. But make sure you're rotating your sales staff throughout the different zones in the booth. This keeps people from getting too bored. It also gets people who have different strengths on different approaches to pull different people into the booth on different days. So number 2 in terms of zones and rotating comes into making sure to schedule staff in booth and out of booth. So I just talked about the in booth scheduling and whether that might be in a different zone or an area, but scheduling them for when they're going to be in the booth and communicating to them what their shift is. Also make sure you're scheduling time for them to be outside of the booth. We all know that even though they're there working a trade show, that business doesn't stop. And while it might be our goal to get a lot of lead generation and build new contacts or connect with current customers while we're at the show, we still have a whole lot of different customers and different things that need to be taken care of that are happening during the show hours. So by scheduling people outside of the booth, it allows for a couple different things. Number 1, it allows for people to catch up on work. and that's really great because that means that they don't have to be on their phone while in the booth. And if you really do have to take an important call or respond to something, step off the show floor, step out of your booth. Another is that they can stop to take a bio break, get some food, or more importantly, especially for the number of hours, the number of days, just take a seat. We all get tired feet and tired backs, and sometimes we just want to go have a general sit down. And sitting at the 1 or 2 chairs within our booth doesn't look really great. So give people time to go and relax and put their feet up for a few minutes. Also, if the show gets a little slow or you have too many people in the booth for the traffic that's coming through, schedule time for people to go and walk the show floor. Let them look at the competition, let them look at potential vendors that are there that could be clients. Have them take time to go and meet customers for coffee or meet up with different third parties. Make sure that you give them plenty of time in and out of the booth. And also, if you're noticing that throughout the show that different times are heavier or lighter, make sure that you accommodate the schedule to be flexible enough to offer people to come into different parts and not work full shifts. Allow people to stay back at the hotel so that they can take care of business, and by the time they get to the show, they can fully focus on the show. All right, so number 3 is all about dress code. Don't assume that your dress code or your idea of what the dress code is matches the show's dress code. And while you're saying to me, there are no shows with real dress codes, there are. The show dress code is that you dress for the audience and you dress for your brand. And you're going to see that based on the industry and the audience type, each show has a different expectation. And if you don't know what that is, feel free to look at the show gallery of all the pictures, look on social media, and see what people are wearing when they come to the conference or the show. See what people are dressed like in the different booths. If your MO is to dress in a suit, but you're going to an industry that typically is in boots and jeans, say a concrete or a construction or a wastewater show, a suit might seem out of place, and it might seem as though you don't really know your customer base. It doesn't mean that you don't dress your brand, which could be upscale, or it could be that you like to be in suits, but choose a button-down shirt instead, or something different. Also, do communicate the dress code. If you're going to coordinate dress code outfits, so like colors on like days, make sure you're letting people know which shirt or what top color to wear and what kind of coordinating pant color you want to wear. Also, make sure that if you're asking them to wear something that is logo apparel for your brand, for your company, that you're providing it to them. Lastly, a do for this is that people feel most comfortable and confident when they have clothes that fit them well. And I would really encourage you, especially as a marketing professional who's responsible for this part of the preparation, is to look for different types of items that people can wear that help them portray the brand, but also allow them to be comfortable. So often I was at trade shows, with the exception of one I can think of in the past 5 years, where I wasn't freezing. I always had a sweater, and it would have been great to have company logoed sweaters, but I wanted to also be comfortable, so I often brought sweaters. But my guys that would be working, we had them in polo shirts, and they were just as cold as I was. So I learned a lesson that we should be providing sweaters to them, or general jackets that they can wear too, that are part of the outfit. Also, if you're going to be providing polo shirts and you want your females who are working the booth to also wear those polo shirts, know that most often women will feel very uncomfortable wearing a man's shirt, and it doesn't cost anything more to look for a female cut. It does not have to be the exact same shirt. Just look for a shirt in a similar pattern or color or something complementary, so that women also feel comfortable wearing something that is more suited to their body shape. All right, number 4 is really important. Don't show up to your shift late, and don't stay out late. Now, I'm no dummy. I get it. Trade shows mean long days, they mean customer dinners, they mean evening events and activities, they mean association meetings, all of those things. So it's not like you're going to get to bed super early, and the week is also very long. But it also means that you are working. And so it's a great reminder that staying up late just because you have the company expense account or someone else is paying or you're in Las Vegas, it doesn't mean that you should, because you're going to show up the next day and you're going to look tired and you're going to be less approachable, and that's going to affect the prospects that we're going to get within the booth. Also, when you show up late to a shift, especially if you haven't communicated to people your reason why you're going to be late, you are going to throw off the whole day for everyone else who is working the booth. It might leave people short-staffed, which once again means we are missing prospects or the ability to connect with people who come through because we are left short-staffed. If you're going to be late for a shift, make sure you're communicating with whoever the booth captain is or the main contact and letting them know why and when you're going to show up, and have people on reserve to make sure that you can shift them in and out so that there's always coverage. A unexcused lateness or absence really isn't a good way to go. You're not going to make friends. All right, the last one is make sure you don't go in unprepared. The easiest do for this, and while there are many, many things you can do ahead of time in preparing your staff for all the things that are going to happen and all of the ways that they're going to engage and interact, there is also the on-site preparation. Make sure you're having morning and or afternoon meetings depending on when you start your schedule or your different shifts. But make sure that you're holding staff meetings so that you're walking through the booth again, making sure that everything is set up, everything is clean and prepared, that they are in their zones ready, and they know what the day's objectives and goals are. They know where they have left off from the days before and how you're doing against the overall show goals, so that they know what they're trying to achieve that day. Having that meeting makes sure that people understand what they're going to be working towards throughout that day, and you can have the most successful day and show while you're on site. So I hope these do's and don'ts for booth etiquette have helped. I know there's a lot of information out there, but maybe in this little video format, you can share this with the rest of your team as you prepare for the season, and they'll have some great takeaways. As always, have a great show.